We're underway. That was
Hmm.
official. Gavin, how are you today, my friend?
I'm good. How are you?
Tip top. Thanks for asking. I'm swinging from a star. And why wouldn't I be, right?
Absolutely no reason why not.
I've been looking forward to this. I will say you kind of threw me for a loop with you with your obviously Mediterranean accent and the fact that you are dialing in from Seattle, but you're wearing a Chicago Cubs hat. How did that happen?
Well, my wife is from Chicago, and we
Oh,
were
there you go.
da dating long distance between Sydney and Chicago for a while. And in 2016, I went to my first game at Wrigley Field. Fell in
Oh,
love
that'll
with it.
do it. Yeah,
Had a
Wrigley will do it to
spiritual
you.
experience. My first spiritual experience, and loved it, and then went home and watched every game after that. And so that was, of course, just a few weeks before the playoffs in where the Cubs won the World Series. So
Oh
I
yeah.
can at least say I got on the bandwagon before they won, albeit just a handful of games before. I didn't suffer through 106 years of not winning.
Yeah.
I just a
That was
couple of
pure entertainment.
Yeah, I just suffered through maybe a couple of weeks, but I suffered through a few years after that.
No, no, no. It's good
Yeah, I
for
love
you
it.
because they made the playoffs this year. So it's I don't know what's going on, but they're turning things around. But yeah, I have to admit because like you're well aware, I was born on the south side of Chicago, so I was kind of
Mhm.
growing up, and I was thinking, I remember being like 7 years old. I'm like, I need a team, so I started supporting the White Sox. But then when you turn 8 years old in Jerkwater, I mean Marseilles, Illinois, if you want to play baseball, you get drafted on a little league team, and I was drafted by the Dodgers. So that's working out
Oh,
okay too.
wow. Wait, you got drafted by the Dodgers in Chicago.
No, by then we had moved out. My parents
Got
moved
it.
to north central Illinois, almost actually exactly equidistant between my mom's parents in Chicago and my dad's parents in Illinois farm country.
Oh, okay, got it. Cool. And how did that turn out for you?
Well, I mean, honestly, small town living, it's a great little town.
Oh,
It's
the
it's
drafting, I mean.
oh, the drafting. Yeah,
Yeah.
that one went pretty well. And for example,
Okay.
I'll tell you because I was pretty proud. My dad was proud of it because he cut it out of the newspaper. There was one summer I was actually number three in the city in batting average, and Gavin, I was batting 637. I don't know if you
That's
realize
it's
that's
pretty good.
insane. That's insane.
Yeah.
But I was in third place, so there's people higher than me. But but yeah, I mean, because I like we were talking earlier, when I put together these episodes, I think of people that I would love to talk to about because I think you and I can speak well to the fact that I've told you a little bit about the fact that I was talking with a friend a few weeks ago, and he or she, so remain nameless and genderless, so I don't
Hmm.
get in trouble. We were talking with a third friend, and we were talking, myself and the other friend were talking about taking a drive, like going to the Grand Canyon or something like that. And he made them a comment of that, why would I go to the Grand Canyon? I've got an 80-inch TV. I can watch it in stereo. And it's like, oh, that's not what it's about. And so that's what I wanted to talk about because, in my opinion, that's watching life, but that's not living it. And if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But so I'm not going to say it's a negative point of view on your choices, but I would like them to see this episode as a challenge.
Yeah, and I hope anyone would see it as a challenge rather than an opportunity to beat yourself up about the things that you don't do, which is the thought process that I found myself going down. So I wouldn't say I've lived life in a box. I think the experiences I've chased after are mostly around. I'm into was in a dragon boat for a long time, and I was in the Australian team and coaching the Australian team. And I was chasing races all around the world, going to Europe and Asia, which I love doing. And then I'll do outrigging, and I've done some big races in Hawaii, crossing the channel from Molokai to Oahu in a team. And these are the adventures or more adventurous things I've done in life, which, I'm somewhat proud of. Um, at the same, and I've done a lot of travel, so I've been lucky to do that. But
Yeah.
at the same time, there's a whole bunch of stuff I haven't done. I find myself at times spending most of my Sunday scrolling rather than getting out and about and even just getting into the
Yeah.
garage and tinkering with stuff. Um, so there's, a, some self-imposed shame around that. So I think we all probably have our areas where we could say we're somewhat adventurers and areas where we're homebodies.
Yeah, that's well stated. And I was talking to my son recently. Well, yeah, and it's but I think it might be circadian rhythm related because my days, I mean, because okay, I'll just come out and tell everybody I don't work anymore. I'm kind of retired, I think. But it's been like that for like about 4 months now. But I have an issue like between 1 and 3 in the afternoon. I don't know what it is. If I don't have something to do, I go stir crazy. But it's like it
Mm.
can be simple like you say though. Just get out into the garage and start messing with something. Ideally, if if you have a garage. But just just participating. Doing something. And it's not like well. You're not working. Why don't you go uptown and have a beer? That's not what I'm talking about. But I have, like you say, we've got a lot of digital assistants these days, and I've talked with Chat GPT and laid out some roadmaps and stuff that I want to do. And I'll be honest with you right now, I'm guilty of not doing them myself when I should just get off my keister and go. I mean, I keep, it's not. I'm concerned about money. I don't want to just spend money blindly, but I probably got enough where I could do, a driving trip somewhere. And I don't know, have you ever done, I don't know if you're a fan or not, but well, podcasts, I hope you're a fan. But I'm content, like, sometimes like I did it yesterday on a Saturday. I had to go to a store out north of Austin. I knew it was going to be like a 50-minute round trip, but my second thought was, I've got a good audiobook. I don't mind it at all. And that's fine by me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, I've always thought of like the doing versus watching thing is most sort of obvious around watching sport. And I always thought I'd rather do sport than watch sport, depending on the sport. I'm not into MMA. I'm trying that out. But, um, I like watching baseball, as we just said, but I would rather do it. And I find myself like,
Yeah,
but go to a batting cage and just belt the crap out of the ball,
absolutely.
or at least try to. We have our neighbors' kids sometimes go play baseball, and I've often felt myself I want to go with them and play, and but I just couldn't bring myself as a 53-year-old to say, hey, to the 14-year-olds, do you mind if I tag along?
Yeah,
And I
yeah, that
can
could.
play too. I don't know how they'd feel about that, but um,
Well, hang on.
I
Real
also,
quick, let's think about that.
yeah,
If
hmm
I was, you say the kid's 15, 14.
yeah.
So if I was like a say freshman and some 55-year-old dude, I don't know if I would want you to go so I could put a clinic on you or if like or just see how sad it would. But I would let you go. I mean, because
Well,
I
I
would
mean,
figure
it's
like maybe like you would buy ice cream after, something like that. So that's cool. I would let you go.
well, I mean, I yeah, I would definitely, if you were to come to Seattle, given your batting average, which I think is still probably quite pristine in the 600s, I think we should play a bit of baseball.
Yeah,
I
637.
would put
That's
that to you.
insane.
And I mean that. I think that would be a lot of fun. I think we should
I think so too. I
either
mean, we
drink
used to
before
do,
or after
well,
or
we would
during.
do, I found myself because we would do like when I was younger, like say, I don't know, your age, we would do uh, slow pitch softball in the summertime in Marseilles, Illinois. Nothing better. I started realizing that I've matriculated to sports where you could do the sport and have alcohol. Like horseshoes, yes. Golf, I'm in.
Mhm.
Softball, sure. Bowling, let's do it. So it's like, so maybe. But what he was saying when he's saying about watching his TV, is even if you're watching a travel show, that's not travel. Like you and I talked about a few years back. I went, I think like 3 years back, but I'm due to go again because I loved it and I'm going to do it again. But I wanted to get up. I kept hearing about, there's one thing that you guys have in Seattle is a lot of state parks, a lot of hiking trails, and that's one thing that Texas was pretty flat. But I heard about Big Bend, so I just got off my ass. I got in the Jeep and I drove out west into West Texas. Uh,
Oh, there you go.
and it is, I'm telling you, Gavin, once you get past, like, there's a town called Fredericksburg, founded by German settlers. We'll talk about that one day. But get an hour past that, so about 2 hours past my house out here, it turns into those plains and those mesas and that desert that you're talking about. So it's
Beautiful.
like it turns into all of a sudden now it's like less of a road trip and more of a keep an eye in the gas tank because I wasn't seeing many gas stations around.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be caught out in the desert, out of gas and little things like roll off the road and just to hearing the crunch of your tires as you go into a roadside taco stand or something like that. So it's not like, I'm not saying, it's it gets you like because I was just cleaning my shoes today, and even 2 weeks ago I was trying to find haunted places around Austin, and I went out to the Devil's Backbone, which there's the Devil's Backbone Highway and a Devil's Backbone Bar, which is again, sorry, tying beer into it, but I had to get the grit off my boots, and I can hear my other friend with the TV saying, "I don't want grit in my boots," and that's fine. I'm not saying you take off and ride into a dust storm, but the metaphorical grit on your boots means you took a chance. You got up, you got out, and you felt the ground underneath you. You did more than just watch it.
Mm. Yeah, that's a good point. I think, and that's also when when you are traveling and you are there, there's a certain level of experience and presence that you can indulge in, or you can also stay pretty distant as well. You can,
Yeah.
when I've traveled, I've always tried to get a real sense of the place, and feel that experience rather than see it through the complete lens of a tourist. Um,
I like doing that in the
and,
states
and I
that I,
think
that I
that,
that I moved to too. I try to know the state. Like I tried to know as much of Washington. My son did a much better job than I did, but I'm trying to learn Texas a lot. And boy, there's a lot of it. There's a lot of
yeah,
Texas, but
my
I'm
uncle
trying.
Sess always said that whenever he moved somewhere or stayed somewhere, he would have to walk the place to get a sense of it. That was his only. He felt that was the only real way to get a feel for the place. And I took that on when I first moved to Seattle. I wasn't working for the first few weeks, and so I tried to walk around a lot of the places. You probably couldn't do that with Texas per se, um, but you could
You
do, or
can.
even
You
West
won't get.
Texas, but you could do it with bits of it.
It's a connection, right? I mean, it connects you to the area. And I didn't, like I was telling somebody today, I've moved 6 times in the last 13 years, 3 times for work, 3 times by choice. But
Mm.
and Austin, Texas was a choice. Anybody listening, just so you know, uh, I ain't leaving, by the way. I don't see it happening anytime soon. But it's different when you walk it. Like I said, I wanted to get out to West Texas, and I'll tell you I mean, there's already in my mind, there's like so many things I want to talk about, but I couldn't get camping at Big Bend because it's too late in the campsites go quick. So by the
Yeah.
time I planned my trip in April, the campsites were booked up. So I got a small Airbnb in a small town called Marathon, Texas. It's right outside the entry to Big Bend. And I was going to Big Ben the first time I got up, before the sun because I wanted to be the first one at the gate so I could, but I walked out and it was like the stars almost smacked you in the face. It was like the sky because it's a night vision or a night respective area, they light limited area. And the
Hmm.
stars were just big and bright deep in the heart of Texas. I'm telling you, it was like I felt like I could almost touch them. It was like they felt like that close, and I could see like the Big Bend. And then when in the evening, later on, I wanted to get out and see it again, and I could see Orion had moved in. So the constellations were right there. It was fantastic. See, that's the kind of connection you get, and I appreciate, like I say, if you want to sit there and watch your TV, but I think you're kind of missing something.
Yeah, that type of experience isn't going to come across through a TV screen. Um, but I mean, both of us were big fans of that song. I'm Not Crying. That's West Texas in My Eye, which
Yeah.
I love the lyrics on. And I've never been to West Texas, but that has inspired me to go there.
You'll get
I
it.
wonder if.
Once you've been, you'll get what they're talking about. And you hear people talking. We had a friend named Joe at the same company you and I used to work, and Joe used to live in West Texas.
Mhm.
He would talk. You could see it in his eyes when I talked about where I lived. He's like, "Oh," he's like, "I remember when I lived out in West Texas, and you could hear the storms rolling in off the mesas, and he missed it." And like people who've left, like I can see why they wrote the song. Like we had another guy named Nirag that we used to work with, and he had moved to Boston. And the second thing he said was, "I'd move back to Texas." He's like, I'd move back." but you get it. It kind of grows into you. And I'm sure, other states and city, feel the same way, but you got to get out there. I'm telling you, man, you would love it. It can be dangerous. I mean, um, like I say, like it's mile after mile. It's of nothing. Like when I went
Mm-hmm.
out there a couple of Thanksgivings ago because I wanted to hike the highest mountain in Texas, which is Guadalupe Peak, out in northwest Texas, which I did. But I had to land in El Paso and drive up to New Mexico. So because there's no other way to get there unless you want to drive like 8 or 10 hours from my house. So even that was a 3 hour one-way drive. But I saw later on a travel show, they're like, this is the most nothing. There's a salt flat and plain. There's a border patrol in between there. That's all you're going to see the entire time. So plan it
Mm-hmm.
well. Take water with you. Have a full tank. Uh, any chance you get, stop and get gas. So it can be dangerous, but
Mm.
it's also awesome.
Yeah, that sounds terrific. One place that comes to mind for me is visiting the Northern Territory in Australia. That was certainly an experience to visit, and being on a an old airstrip that used to be used by the Americans and the Australians in World War II. Um, and hadn't been used in years, so it was sort of covered over. It was a nice place to camp because it was nice and flat. And basically the tents, you just have um, a screen up. You don't, there's no chance of rain, so you don't need it to be covered. So you're just looking at the big stars above you, which again, for the reasons of having no light pollution, was breathtaking. And but during the night, like the connection to the airstrip with the Americans and the Australians was pertinent because there were American fighter jets flying overhead throughout the night, and Australian ones because there was an exercise going on up in the Northern Territory at the time. So we had these. You get woken up every few hours with these jets thundering over, which I didn't mind at all. That was really cool.
What was the name of the
Um,
place?
Kakadu is the national park, and Darwin is the city nearby. So it's at the very top. So if you see Australia like a butterfly, it's the bit in the middle at the top, and that was the bit under threat from the Japanese in the World War II, which is why there was a lot of military activity there at the time.
I wonder if that's where they got my grandparents got my dad's name from because he was named Darwin.
Oh, yeah, maybe so. Well, yeah, I imagine Darwin was named after Charles Darwin, but
There's
no, don't
that.
know for
There's
sure.
that.
Yeah.
But I
But
mean,
yeah, go ahead.
well, let me ask you just a random question, and like kind of like challenge, like we said, that like, people see this as a challenge, and I thought of it when I was asking, but is there? Well, you just talked about baseball, but is there one thing you've seen lately that you next time you want to go, you want to do it instead of like just like for example, I saw there's this couple. Probably like your age that travel around the country and they just give their opinions of how they got there, the airlines and stuff like that, and then the country when they go to. But they went, and I'd wanted to go here before, but they went to Patagonia. And I'm like, I'm gonna go there.
For me, it's a little bit of travel, but it's also a bit of a physical challenge. So I would really like to do there's a like a long distance swim in Waikiki,
Ooh,
which is basically from Outrigger Canoe Club down. So it's 2.5 miles, and it's along Waikiki, and you come in at that big hotel. I forget the name of, but basically it's where you also finish the outrigger race. And so I've done outrigger races, long distance ones before, but I've never done a really long ocean swim. And I think that would be something I'd really want to do. And it's in such a beautiful spot too. So that's something that I think I can definitely. tackle in the next couple of years. I'd need to train up for it. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah.
going to be there to win it, but it's achievable. Yeah,
Well, even the Marine Corps will tell you there's a difference between being in shape and being in water shape. That's a big difference.
right.
I
Yeah,
can,
and
hopefully it's policed or like, like lifeguards that are going with you too,
it,
right?
it is. Yeah, it is super safe. And that the good thing about that in environment is that you with a whole bunch of other swimmers. So um, it'd have to say, I mean, you're pretty unlikely to get attacked by a shark, but it certainly helps bring a calm state of mind when there's lots of other choices for the sharks that are around, all surrounding you. So that helps. But
Very
yeah, no,
positive way to
it's
put
pretty
that.
safe. What's that?
It's a very positive way to put, taking the surrounding. So you're not being foolish about it. You're not going to get jump into shark infested waters without, some kind of defense.
Exactly. And as you know, in Australia, we all learn shark self-defense from a young age in primary school. It's just part of
Do
the
you really?
education system. No, but
Okay, I was
I
trying to think of something comparable in Illinois. What did we learn? Nothing, nothing much.
I did have my outrigger club fooled for a second. We were in it was summer. We were in Lake Washington where there's no sharks, but there was this buoy shaped like a shark, and we are having a break. And I said, right, watch this. I jumped in, and then proceeded to demonstrate several like self-defense maneuvers using the shark buoy as a model.
Good call.
Um,
You do have your
and
orcas
say,
up
look,
there in Seattle.
there is, but not in the lake. But there, yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be super. I don't know if shark self-defense moves would work on orcas. I suppose so.
They're probably
Uh,
pretty slow. You could probably just swim your way out of that one.
that's true. I mean, worst come to worst, you just jam their head in the mouth, and they'll um, at least have
It'll be over.
indigestion. I suppose that's a consolation prize.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get back on track because this is a pretty
Yeah,
fun track
sorry,
we veered off on,
little bit
but
off track, and I'd much rather watch any kind of that action on the screen than be involved in it. That's for sure.
well, we got to be careful. I mean, I always say be careful because it's always, again, it's a life choice and you can whatever you want to take from this, but if you keep watching, it could turn into waiting and then waiting for the right time or waiting for more money, like I said, or waiting for company. I'm guilty of doing it right now. Like I said, I've got these plans ready. I've got a newer used vehicle now, but I've got miles I can put on it. So I think it's just the point is, quit waiting for the stars to line up because they won't. The money won't ever feel perfect. The timing won't ever be exactly right. Get off your butt. Go while you can. And it doesn't have to be something major. I mean, the first, I mean, your job, probably, your kids, probably, and definitely your bills, they'll still be there when you get back. So
Hmm.
you don't have to quit it all, like I say, and run out to Big Ben, but you can do like a weekend or an evening, or like I say, just last Saturday, I was looking for someplace haunted. Just a few hours, get something that reminds you of why you're alive.
Well, I imagine this is a bit of a topic for you that's relevant, as you've retired. It's probably an
Yeah,
opportunity for
maybe.
you to do all sorts of stuff, and now that you've got the time to do it, but also agree that you can't wait for retirement to be doing these things. You've got to try and
Yeah.
fit them in.
Well, I'm curious. Do you think, I mean, because we just touched on it briefly in the notes, but do you think this is still left over from COVID? Like his response to that he has a TV, he'd rather just stay inside and watch?
Oh, good question.
He or she, rather.
I I suspect so. My wife and I have got into some habits from COVID that we still have. Like we hardly ever go out to eat. We'll just order in, and that is I think that's not great. We've talked about trying to turn that around, but we don't. So I think for sure some things are left over from COVID in terms of our habits and our inclination to be homebodies.
Well, there's also like the rise of I don't know if you and I are like borderline familiar with an online shopping experience. Uh,
Okay.
what I see a propensity of, and I think I had a full episode written about it. Uh, Meal kit deliveries. It's like,
Mm.
people have instead of going even to the grocery store or to just pull it out of the freezer and that just throw it in the microwave and I've got me a fresh meal. That's not the same. But you know what I,
And
because
we
Well, go
we're
ahead.
guilty of that. We do milk. We do the blue apron thing, and we cook it up. And if you could call it cooking, but for me, that's as cookie as I get. Like that's with my lack of cooking skills, it's actually really taught me how to do some basic cooking. So
Well,
for me, it
good.
was a step up. For others, it might be a step back.
Yeah, I see. I love cooking. That's again, especially now. So we'll get at. But uh, like yesterday, I just made a simple. I woke up. I'm like, like because it was turning to fall. I mean, they flipped the switch here in Texas. It was like 90 degrees and sunny, and then it was like thunderstorms and a high of 70. Like, okay, now I think I want like a clam chowder or something like that. So I made up something like that. It turned out to be a Mediterranean stew, but
Oh wow.
that was fun. But one of the things I noticed, I mean, because I was writing this, and it's really because it hit me as I was going through it, and obviously a greater propensity for this, and you and I have talked about before, is rodeos, for example. And I really miss them because this is already late into the fall, and there's not a lot of rodeos out there. But the experience, like you can watch it on TV a lot, but the experience, like you walk into a small coliseum, okay, you're going to smell animals, yes,
Mm,
but it's like you see the smile, and all the young kids are so excited to be there. And
mm,
there's genuine excitement for rodeo in Texas, and you see all, cowboy hats and boots and old school cowboys and ladies wearing, their cowboy, their cowgirl regalia. And it's like, oh, now I'm in Texas and I miss
mm.
that a lot. But that's, I think, like to the nth degree of like how it differs from watching it on TV to actually experiencing it.
Yeah, that I'm glad you brought that up. I've been to two rodeos since I've moved here. I want to go to a lot more. And the first one I went to, blew me away because I mean, I was standing there on the side of the arena and you could feel in the ground through your feet when the bulls were like, jumping around and they were like 50, 100 meters away. And it's like, obviously that wouldn't come through a screen. Maybe if you had the right subwoofer, but, but no, it was incredible. And I thought these beasts are so powerful and the
Oh,
Broncos as well. And every cell in my body would tell me not to go anywhere near them, because they're just so powerful and so aggressive.
yeah.
And yet here these people are that by choice get on the back of them and ride them is incredible. How brave they are. And I guess they grow up with it. But still, it takes a whole lot of courage. I'm sure they've all been hurt many times and still keep doing it, getting back on the horse, as they say. And I went to my second one at the Ellensburg Rodeo, which was a bigger experience, and the whole thing just blew my mind. I loved absolutely every minute of it, from all the different events, but it's I was in awe of these people.
And it can be something like, because I mean, I'm not a big into the, religion thing. I respect, obviously people's beliefs, but every rodeo will, number one, it starts on time. If it says it's starting at 7:30, it's starting at 7:30. So you be in your seat with your beer. And but the first thing I ever did, you'll hear the announcer. You think he's going to get all goofy, but he gets all reverent, and he's like, thanking for the opportunity for everybody to be here. We should be, so please, st stand up, and we're going to do the Lord's Prayer. And everybody takes their hat off. I'm getting the tingles now. I've got to find
Yeah,
another rodeo. You've got a great rodeo, by the way, not far from you. If you can catch it down in Puyallup, they've got a great rodeo.
I'll check it out. Yeah, I absolutely love it. And every year we have this. Our biggest paddling event is at the Gorge down at Columbia River, um, near Stevenson. And the funny thing is that every year it's on the same week as this, as the cowfolk also have their thing right there in the fairground right next to us. And so
Interesting.
here they are, doing their thing. And we're also in like a very windy river by choice because there's waves and we're on these tippy craft where we're using our core and trying to make the most of the waves and not fall off. And I thought, wait, why don't why
Right?
don't we
Yeah.
swap
That's what
just for
so
shits and giggles
it's a similarity, yeah.
for like an hour? Here's my boat. Tell me where tell me where your beast is. I'm no expert. I don't know what you got to show me where it is, and I'll have a go, and you have a go, and who knows? Maybe same core muscles. It's a piece of cake for everyone, or maybe I'll just get stomped to death and they'll drown. I don't know, but let's just give it a go.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. But like I'll tell you right now, like, even in Texas, they'll tell you the only reason to ride a bull is if you want to meet a nurse. That's I understand why you want to break horses, to use on your ranch, but there's really no need to be riding the back of a bull.
Yeah, I can't imagine. It's not. You're not going to get from A to B. There's no,
Yeah.
it's yeah. Unless you wanted to flatten out a paddock with the stomping or something, and I don't
You can
understand.
flatten
But
out
I'm trying
something.
hard here. I'm trying way
Yeah.
too hard to find a proper reason.
Well, I think, but like you say though, like some of the the surprises that you get in the travel, that's part of the fun too, because I was like, for example, I went to visit my son when he was going to school in Scotland, and to get there for the first time, I had to go through France. The only flight I could find was through Charles de Gaulle, and those French people don't give a frog's fat ass about you English guys, you Aussie guys. This is France. This is how we're gonna do it. But but I swear, even though like the signs for the gate were like double in French and no English, and you just had to kind of figure it out. And they were like, when they were talking about like, uh, is that a tableau or whatever they're calling like my computer backpack? And I was like, no, it's just like an iPad. And they're like, is it tableau or whatever? So they were like having none of it. I was like, can take it. I've got to get to my flight. And but that's part of it, to adapting to the unknown. Charles de Gaulle Airport. Now it's one of those places I've been. I don't need to go back.
Yeah. Uh, I would like to see basically a rodeo clown that's also a mime. Like,
I'm
um,
sure a lot of us would.
that would be interesting. Yeah, Marcel Marceau meets, bull, walking against the wind at the same time, trying to get the bull
Boy,
away from the cowboy or cowgirl.
and I'm telling you, uh, I've had experience with rodeo clowns, and I didn't know they could be bad. I saw a bad rodeo clown, like terrible.
Oh,
Just the humor. Ordinarily, it's not your A game humor anyway. But this guy was horrible. It's like a county fair up in Dripping Springs. And if you're listening, I'm telling you right now, your rodeo clown sucked. There.
so wait, I mean, I think it's one thing to be a bad rodeo clown because you're not funny, but it's another one to be a bad rodeo clown because you don't have good balance, you're uncoordinated, your reflexes are really slow. That'd be another kind of bad.
Yeah, and
You
another
just get
kind of
nailed
rodeo
by the
clown.
bull every
But
time.
the good ones, oh yeah, well those guys, oh wow, yeah, those respect to those guys. But they'll have the rodeo clowns that get the bulls away from the rider who's fallen or the horse, whatever. Those guys, nothing but respect. But barrel, they hide in the barrel and they trick the bull to come over and knock the barrel. But there's always going to be the rodeo clown that just tries to get the crowd going, the crowd, laughing, and he'll actually go up in the audience at the rodeo in Austin and sing with the crowd. So that's a good clown. But and the other guys are great clowns, so good for them. But I don't want to be harping too much on rodeo, and I don't want to be harping too much on. You and I have talked about some like big adventures, going to France, going to Hawaii, that type of thing, going to Greece like you've done recently, or going over to Scotland. But yeah, I understand. Like I've been flat broke, and it wasn't that long ago. So if you can't do anything, you just can't get away. It's okay to start small. Like start right where you are. You don't have to drive to West Texas. You can just go walk a park trail or do micro adventures, like little things. Like I keep an eye out all the time, like for free museum days. That's great for me. I'm all about it because, but or take a picnic and go up to the park, or by all means bring the kids along. They love that stuff. But in the interim, plan for a bigger trip. Like I say, my youngest and I have done a lot of world travel together. But recently he's had made a job change. We had to kind of put off the travel plans, but we're going to have something else on the agenda. So right now, if
Mm,
you can't afford it, or if there's, get a coffee can. I've got two. I've got two coffee cans where I'm contributing right now to a Christmas budget, and the other one just like for whatever budget. But keep some spare change. Keep a line item in your budget like every month if you can, put some money aside. But like I say, by all means, bring the kids along. They love that stuff. Even if it's like, you know what, let's go to a diner. And because there's a nice one. When I was growing up, Gavin, we had 9 kids in my family. There weren't not going to be any vacations going on, but there were occasional
mm,
surprise weekend trips. We would go to a Holiday Inn at a city about 2 hours drive away, and we'd eat Kentucky Fried Chicken in the room, and we'd swim in the pool. And I still have great memories of those. So little
mm.
things like that, just to get up and get out.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you're young, those are kind of formative experiences. I mean, even on a smaller level, yesterday I was walking my dogs. I took them out to a park, and it's absolutely pissing down rain, and then it starts hailing, and it was actually all right. It was actually pretty good. I'm really glad I did it, as opposed to, sitting inside and watching TV or scrolling or whatever.
And I've got a little park by me. I do the same thing. Like if I'll go like mix an episode or I'll go write an episode and I'll just go open up the back end of the Jeep. Now I got a tailgate so I can sit on the tailgate. But yeah, I enjoy like for some reason this park is popular with people taking pictures for weddings. They'll go and like it's a scenic and especially in the spring when the bluebells are blooming and it's beautiful. And you see the little kids, you see the families, you see the dogs. I probably saw you out there. I don't know, but they're playing frisbee golf or it's great just to get out and get out of the home once in a while.
I think I mean, often the inclination is to take the easier path, and sometimes being part of a community or having a friend that drags you out, sometimes when you don't feel like it, is often helpful, whether you're part of a club or a wider community to try and get those prompts to get out there and do
That's a
something.
good point.
I think is kind of what we all need sometimes.
I was luckily surprised. My son sent me a ticket to a Scotch whiskey tasting in the afternoon in Austin, Texas, on a Sunday. And not only
Awesome.
that, but they were out on Lake Austin, so it was a boat tour, and it was
Oh,
beautiful. And I met some more people there. And like you mentioned, though, get involved. I bring it up because a lot of the people on that boat cruise that day were part of the Scotch Whiskey Club in Austin. That I didn't even know
oh,
they existed until I got up and gave it a try. And I wouldn't have done it. And I'm thanking Kellen now for that ticket. So I've got the card on my counter right now, and I'm going to go to the website after we get done here, and I'm going to register to because they have like monthly meetings. So it'd be kind of nice.
that sounds like it's right up your alley. Perfect.
It was good, damn good Scotch whiskey too. But Gavin, they sampled 8 bottles, 8, and I had to drive home, so I was
It's more than a
tasting some.
sample.
Yeah, I was tasting some, and because each sample is like a shot and a half. That's a lot of alcohol for me anyway. So I
Hmm.
was tasting, and there was a couple girls there as well. Oddly enough, I met them, but they were like, "Is it okay if we just like pour some of this out because we can't drink all this?" Like,
And you're like,
he's
hand it over. Uh,
oh no, I
no,
wasn't. But the guy
no.
organizing, he's like, "There's no shame in like tossing a few out. Don't worry about it. Yeah, I get it."
Um, I've heard about a train whiskey tasting tour down near Mount Rainier, which a friend of mine has tickets to, and we,
Beautiful
we
area,
might go next year because they've
beautiful
kind of shut
area.
it down for the year. Yeah,
See, that's what I
but
mean.
that sounds like a lot of
Now,
fun.
see, it's all kinds of, I mean, Austin's chock full of opportunities. Seattle's chock full of opportunities, and no matter where you are, there's going to be opportunities. Like I said, I just hope people see this episode is like, oh, like maybe, maybe I was getting a little too sedentary. And if that's your life, that's fine. But I like to consider this a challenge. Like we talked about earlier, if you see something on TV that you like, that's pretty cool. Go do it. If you can, go do it or plan to do it. Even the planning can be fun.
Just come up with one thing.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
all it takes. Mm.
And then and I thank you entirely for joining me today, Kevin, because it's always fun talking with you. We should do this more often. And I really miss the times like you and I used to on Sundays, Sunday afternoons. You know where I'm going. We uh
Hmm.
we would go to a local because you got one of the best craft beer scenes in the country in Seattle, and we would go to a craft brewer. We would take the time to get up on a Sunday and walk out and go meet up and have a beer or two, and that was a great way to end the weekend and get ready for pressure cooker of a job we had.
Yeah, it sure was. Well, still is for me. But yeah, next time you're here, we're definitely playing baseball, all right? I'm going to drag you to a
Ooh
field
boy, there
with
we
a bat and a
go.
ball and a glove,
I
and
ain't scared.
we'll make of it what we can.
And if you're dragging me to play baseball, I'm gonna drag you to play golf. We'll just destroy the place.
Similar skill set, I'm guessing. I have no idea, clearly, but let's give it a go.
That's what I'm talking about. All right, man. Well,
All right,
until
thank
then,
you.
anyway, or
It's an
until next
absolute
time.
pleasure. See you
Hey,
later.
okay, take care, buddy.